Hi, this is Kimberly Reuter, business advisor and supply chain expert, and welcome back to my podcast, The Morning Mood. Hello, my moodies. If you haven't caught on or haven't listened to a recent podcast, that is what I've named my audience. So, welcome. I'm glad you guys are here. It's growing every day. I 100% appreciate each and every one of you for joining my podcast, for making comments, for your likes. Much appreciated. As I've mentioned several times, this has been a bigger success than I expected so quickly. So thank you. Couldn't do it without you. But I've been recently, I think I've also mentioned to you guys, I also do keynote speaking, and I've recently been preparing for some college talks, which means I'm going to be talking to the itty bitties, the new youngins coming out of school who are ready to take on the world. And I have an opportunity to get in their heads a little bit while they're young and hopefully give them some feedback that will help them grow and think about life a little bit differently than maybe they've been taught so far. Give them some real life perspective. And so, what I'm talking to them about is leadership. As you guys know, I've done a lot of big leadership. I've led a lot of big initiatives, a lot of big global projects. I've brought corporations along. Like I've done big leadership, changed leadership, you name it. I led it. So I have a lot of experience in this space. And my experience did not come from sitting in a classroom or reading books or going to seminars or any of those things. My experience came from actually doing it, from fucking it up, learning and getting better. And I've learned and I've also worked across a variety of industries. So not while I work in supply chain and operations, of course, I've worked in a variety of different industries that are related to that. And these principles, my advice, my input on leadership comes from all of that experience, from working with every different type of industry, from pharma to food to clothing to luxury to auto parts to home equipment, everything. I've imported just about everything or exported just about everything there is to import and export, including like, radioactive monkey brains, medical testing, research stuff, which can get kind of weird, but and also a little bit dangerous and very time sensitive. So yeah, it's high demand supply chain there. So I have worked across a variety of different industries. And in addition to that, I have worked up and down the leadership supply chain. I've been advisor to CEOs, CFOs, CSOs, CTOs, and I have been just me and Walker building a startup with, $100,000 budget. So I've been across all of them. So what I have learned in my experience is that most of the advice that I got about leadership was bullshit. I'm just going to say it. A lot of the advice that I got when I was younger about how to be a good leader and what I needed to do to be successful as a leader turned out to be 100% total bullshit. And that advice looked and sounded a lot like sit at the head of the table, have a firm handshake, look everyone in the eye, show up 20 minutes early to work, be the last one to leave the office, hire a good team, like sort of all of this external, superficial, read it in a book, get a seat at the table, lean in, bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all somebody's superficial experience and how they led or how they achieved what they believe is success. And there's a variety of different ways to do that. And there's a variety of different people that'll tell you how to do it. But my experience has come from doing it, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Yep. In the trenches, building things from scratch to multi-billion dollar industries I'm going to say it, a multi-billion dollar industry because it didn't exist before I built it. Before I built Amazon Global, before Andrew and I built the stones, the foundation, the cornerstones of Amazon Global, it didn't exist. You could not buy something from another country and at checkout get your duties and tax calculation guaranteed and have that product delivered to your house flawlessly. It didn't exist. So yeah, I created a multi-billion dollar industry. That is where my leadership experience comes from and the advice that I'm going to share with you comes from. And it's different than anything that you heard because a lot of advice you get from people who have succeeded and who are in big leadership roles, I don't know, are they really successful? Just because you got a title, just because you're a CEO, just because you're a VP, does that make you a leader? Does that make you a good leader? No. I'm not here to talk to you about how do you get promoted. There's plenty of people out there that got, in fact, I was just reading advice somebody was putting out there about how to get promoted. And it may be the biggest bullshit advice I've ever heard in my entire life. It quote unquote said, you got to get the hiring manager to like you. Let me tell y'all something. I have worked with people that I personally cannot stand. And if they were to ask me out for a drink, I would absolutely refuse. But we built some good shit together, but we don't have to like each other. So I'm just saying, there's people out there that got stuff to tell you. You want to understand how they learned about it because it's different. My experience, what I learned about leadership, number one, came from the hard way, came from doing it, building it. And what I want to talk to you guys about is your leadership legacy. That's right. What is your leadership legacy? That is what leadership is about. If you don't have a leadership legacy, you're just a boss. You're a manager. If you want people to say your name with reverence for decades, if you want people to talk about how you helped them, you grew them, you stood by them, and you did the hard thing for them. If you want people, when you run into them decades from now, to tell you about that, to say that to you, to mention that to you, to tell other people about that, if you want to have a legacy, a leadership legacy, if you want what you built and what you did to live on after you're gone, listen to me. Some of the best leaders that we talk about that are held up as examples were not big CEOs. Colonel Sanders, KFC, Mother Teresa, the Dalai Lama, leaders, people that follow them. Jeff Bezos, very empathetic leader, a total jerk and would rip your head off in a hot goddamn second. But he was very empathetic to the customer. Big leaders do not have to have big titles. They are not the ones that live on in the legacy. So what does it mean to have a leadership legacy? What does it take to have a leadership legacy? When you have a leadership legacy, what you built, what you did, what you taught, how you influence people lives on in them. They carry it forward. If you built it right, the products and projects and programs that you built are still on. They've scaled, they live today. Amazon Global lives on today. It is still a fundamental part of Amazon's product offering. The import department that I built at Amazon lives on today. The processes that I built for Amazon imports live on today. That is leadership legacy. People reach out to me that I worked with, that I coached, who were on my team, who I partnered with, and they talk about how I helped them, what we built together, what we achieved together. We are a band of brothers and sisters. And that is what leadership legacy looks like. Of course, I had to pick something that was hard to say, leadership legacy. So I've talked about what good leadership looks like. So I'm going to tell you again, and I'm going to frame it in this way about leadership is not about your title. It is not about the money that you made. It is about the people that you brought along with you, the people that you grew, the people who outgrew you, and the things that you delivered that made a difference for the company and the customer. That is what leadership is about. Leadership is not about titles. It is not about money. It's not about corner offices. Those are short-term gains, short-term benefits of being a leader. The legacy is different. So what does it take to build a leadership legacy? We've talked about them before. We're going to talk about them again. Number one is that there is no no. To be a true leader, you are always looking for a solution. You don't stop finding a way. That is the job of the leader, to point the way, to find the way, to light the way, to find the solution. There is no no. There are always options. As the leader, as a legacy leader, that is, they're all three very important. So I'm not going to say it's 130 your legacy. Because when you allow that to happen, when you collaborate and do not take no for an answer, and you push your team forward and you bring your team with you, and you challenge everyone to find some type of solution, no matter what it is, no matter how crazy, expensive, whatever it is, you just got to find a solution, y'all. And then we're going to work on making that solution better. That empowerment is what sticks with people. Believing that they can find an answer. And especially if you believe that they can find an answer better than you can, that's even better. There is no no in leadership. True leadership legacy starts with there is always a solution, and we're going to find it. Number two, I'm debating which one to come with. I'm going to go with open mind. Open mind, I've been talking a lot. Tiana and I have talked about this. This has come up in some of my greatest lessons that I've shared with you guys, is that I don't know is the most powerful powerful phrase that you can say as a leader. I don't know. And when you say, I don't know, you have an open mind. You're able to hear what other people want to tell you. You're able to hear new ideas. You're able to build something better than what you came up with, because I can guarantee you didn't think about everything. I don't care how smart you think you are. Somebody has found something that you didn't think about. And when you have an open mind, you can hear that and you can pivot and you can change and you can grow and you can make something better. The other thing that happens with as a leader, when you can say, I don't know, you allow them, your team, and everyone around you to say, I don't know. Now, I've talked about I don't know before, and I'm going to back it up again because sometimes people take this all the way. You can say, I don't know, but you got to go find out. It is not a single sentence answer. Yes, it is okay to say that I don't know, but you got to go find out. And as a leader, it is okay to say, I don't know. Tell me what I'm missing. What haven't I thought about? And to quote the David Risch, did I get it right? All right. And the last one is empathy and kindness. Now, I know when I say this, people are like, oh, well, you should be empathetic to what's going on with your team. And, people have personal lives and it's important to keep that in mind. That's not what I'm talking. Yes, yes, yes. Not bullshit. It's right. I'm not saying I take that back. But what I am talking about is empathy with your partners, with the teams that you have to work with, with other people within your organization, not just with people's personal issues. And I'm going to give you a great example of this. Just talking to Andrew Miner, we're setting up our Architect series on Amazon Global, which is going to be the bomb. So excited. But he and I were talking about how we were able to get so much done in such a very short period of time with so many different dependencies and teams. Andrew estimates, now this isn't including the business people, legal tax people that I was working with. This is just tech teams. Andrew estimates that we worked with about 20 different tech organizations within Amazon to get Amazon Global built and out the door. That is a lot. If you have ever built a cross-dependency product, you know that's a challenge. And that took taking at least 20 different tech teams, getting them on board in the boat and rowing in the same direction, while they all had much bigger initiatives going on than my lowly little, we ain't making no money yet Amazon Global program. Okay. So how were we able to do it? Why were Andrew and I successful where other people had failed? Why were we able to get this ball over the line where no one else could? Why? How were we able to get all of these other people to work with us when other people couldn't? Empathy. Andrew and I understood that every tech team that we went and talked to had other initiatives, had other work to do, had other priorities, had a whole bunch of other shit going on that we didn't even know about. And we knew it because we also had the same thing. But what Andrew and I were able to do was to be very empathetic to what they had going on because we had the same thing going on. To understand where they were coming from and that they also had their own goals. And you know what we started doing? We started horse trading. We started trading work. I'll give you an engineer for your engineer. I'll do this work for you if you'll do this for me. I'll write up this document if you'll take time to write up this business requirement. Whatever it was, we horse traded. And we did it with empathy and kindness. I understand you're trying to get something done too, so am I. How can we get this done together? What can I give you to help you? And that is an entirely different conversation. And I've had this conversation too of this has to be done. Jeff said so. Do it right now. I don't want to hear about it. Do I have to go talk to your boss? Well, dude, why don't you just go fucking talk to my boss? Because you'll just save us all a lot of time because he's just going to kick your ass back to me. And since you threatened me, I'm not real motivated to help you now. Totally different conversation. We really need this done. This is why it's important. It's a roadblocker for our project. This is why this project's important to the customer. How can I help you help me? Totally different conversation. So back to you, my itty bitties. Anybody out there who is interested in leaving any sort of leadership legacy, open mind, empathy and kindness, and there is always a solution. That is the key. That's it for me today, my moodies. I'll check you later.